Hi, welcome to part 3 of my Darkness Any Percent tutorial. In this video, we are going to be going over Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is an interesting one because this could very well end up being the hardest chapter in the game, or it could be kinda easy. It all depends on how many tricks you want to do and whether or not you want to do the harder variations of them. The enemies here are also probably going to be giving you maybe a little bit more trouble than they were in Chapter 1, but overall things aren't getting too difficult just yet in the combat department. So let's get right into it. When you start Chapter 2, there are two questions that you're going to want to ask yourself. The first question is, how many hearts did I end Chapter 1 with? And I mean, this question only really matters if you're doing the prop fly at the start, which we'll get into in a second. But you want to ask yourself, how many hearts did I end Chapter 1 with? If it's 13 or more, you're good. You don't have to think any more than that. If it's 12 or 11, then you're going to have to pick up some extra hearts before you leave the trenches. I'll show you where to get those, but they're not too far off the path. If it's less than that, then you're not going to be able to do the best strategy for the prop fly. So that's something to keep in mind, which is why I tell you to end Chapter 1 with 13 hearts. The other question you have to ask yourself is, did I end Chapter 1 with no ammo in my pistols? Because if you did, then you're not going to be able to shoot this enemy right at the start. So you're going to have to pick up those pistols that are flashing on the left. And the best way to do that is to just hold left during this cutscene, and as soon as you gain control, you'll move over and pick them up, and you can get right into killing this enemy. So I'm holding left here. And I just grab the pistols and I can move right back immediately. So we're just gonna kill this enemy that has the demon arm. Something to keep in mind is if you mess up killing him and he ends up like over here, try not to do an execution kill. Because there's a weird glitch where doing that, the body will fall through the ground and you won't be able to eat the heart and you won't be able to continue and you'll have to just restart checkpoint. So we're gonna eat this heart, and right after we do that, pick up these pistols. And as soon as the color on the snakes turns to red, we can use Demon Arm on this obstacle here, and that's the best way to get through. It's important when you eat this heart that you wait for the color to change, because if you press the right bumper too early, you'll end up in Creeping Dark and you'll just waste time. The other thing to keep in mind is that you can get a heart animation where you have to manually switch to Demon Arm rather than it automatically switching. If the two snakes fight over the heart, you're gonna have to manually switch. And that animation also takes a while, so you're probably gonna get up to this obstacle and have to wait for a second, which is unfortunate, but there's not really anything you can do about it. One other thing to keep in mind before we move on here is this plank right here. You can actually see this fall down when a tank drives over top. If you don't wait for that to stop moving, it won't get destroyed when you destroy this barricade, and you'll have to crouch under it. You can still get by just fine, but you won't be able to destroy it with the Demon Arm. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we're gonna come through here, destroy this with the Demon Arm, and the two hearts that you can get as like a bonus hearts are this guy in here, and this guy by the telescope. You really don't want to be getting either of these hearts if you don't have to, especially this guy, because as you can see, the X button says use binocular here rather than eat heart. You kind of have to play with the camera a bit to get the heart prompt to show up. However, I do in my runs tend to kill this enemy because there have been times where I run by and I just immediately die to this enemy somehow. I honestly don't know how it happens. But what I like to do is, as I'm running by, just do a quick shot and then run right by. So then we're gonna get over here. Try to shoot this light out as you run by. It's not a big deal if you can't. If you miss it, you can just shoot it as you eat this next heart. This is the heart of, that gives you the Kamikaze darkling. We're not going to be using that. As you know from playing, you would use the Kamikaze darkling to blow up that and continue through there. What we're actually going to do is jump onto these posts and jump out of the trenches. And you have to eat the Kamikaze darkling heart before you can do that, because there's actually a like invisible wall that prevents you from getting out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you that. I guess I'll use this opportunity to just show you what this would look like in an actual run. So we're going to eat that heart, pick up those pistols, wait for that to turn red, and then we can use the Demon Arm to break that barricade. Shoot this enemy as you run by. And we're gonna get here, shoot out the light, and then we would eat the heart. But I did come here to show you that you do have to eat that heart. I'm jumping right now, it's not getting anywhere. I can't get onto this other post. There's nowhere else that I can get. You have to eat this heart before you can continue. So we'll do that. And then, so the way you get out here is you jump on this post, and then this post, and then you can jump out. But this last jump is actually a bit weird. I'll try and get up here. Whoops. So I'm on the fucking goddamn. Okay. All right. Hold on. All right, there we go. So now I'm up here. I can't just jump right out because, like, I don't really know what it is, honestly. I don't know if it's like the slope of this terrain. But what I find works best is kind of jumping either to the right or the left. I find the left is easier because if you mess up, you'll just end up on this post and you can jump right back up. So jump to the left there and keep like mashing jump as you come up, and then you'll end up right up here. From here, there are 3 different ways that we can get to the end of this screen, and I'll walk you through each of those now. The first method for getting through this section is kind of to just do what you would normally do in a regular playthrough. Kind of. So you're gonna come over to the right here, around this little wooden bridge. And there are gonna be 2 pairs of enemies that you come across on this path. They're not too threatening, you can just take them out pretty quickly. Something to note about the enemies in these chapters, chapters 2 and 4, are that they don't actually die until you eat their heart. That doesn't really come into play a whole lot, but it is good information to know. So this enemy, now that I've eaten his heart, will stay dead. And the other one that actually fell off the cliff, I wasn't intending for that, but that's another way to kill them, is just put them somewhere where they can't get back from. So we're gonna come in front of this bunker, but rather than going in the front door like you would in a normal playthrough, you're actually gonna come over this way to this tree. It might not look like it, but you can actually jump on top of this tree and get on top of the bunker. The way to do that is to just come on to the side here, jump at it once, and then you're kind of standing on this part of it. Jump twice. Oh, there we go. I think you might have to be a bit to the right there so that you can stand along here. I don't know the specifics of this trick, to be completely honest with you. I don't do this ever. Something to know though is when you're doing the second jump, don't keep holding forward or you're gonna go straight off the tree and into the pit, and then you're gonna have to do this whole section over again. So once you're up here, you can come over here. Oh, you might have to do another jump there. Looks like I wasn't high enough. You gotta come over here onto this branch and it'll kind of raise you up a bit. And from here, you can just do a diagonal jump, get on top of the bunker, and run all the way to the end of this section over there. The second method for getting through this section is a combination of prop flying and the tree jump that I just showed you. So you're gonna come over here, grab the barrel with the demon arm, and bring it over this way. Right in front of this little pit here. Now to drop the barrel, what you should do is move forward and let go so that it tips over like this, because this is how the barrel needs to be oriented to do the prop fly. Place it like that. It's okay if it's a little bit at an angle like this, but you don't want it to be too crooked because then it's gonna be hard to stand on during your prop fly. Also be careful about this enemy as he's shooting you while you do this. Generally you're not gonna get hit, but it can happen, so just be careful. If you wanna be very safe, you can either try and shoot him, or just do this prop fly a little further to the right, but that means you are gonna have to be crossing a bigger gap. The idea with this is to get you doing some prop flying while not really running a huge risk of falling because the gap here is pretty small. So, I went over the basics of prop flying in part 1, but I'll just kind of go over it again. You're gonna wanna stand on the prop. I like to stand at the front, you don't have to. Grab it, and as you can see, it's not moving right now, and then move forward and jump, and you'll get a little bit of speed, keep jumping, and now you're across. Now from here, you can go do the tree jump as I showed you before, but I actually, as I was recording this, I just realized there's another strategy you can do here. If you move the barrel here in front of this sloped wall, you might have to shoot out this light. I've just done that for demonstration purposes. Since this wall is sloped, you can actually take advantage of a property of prop flying where if you fly into a sloped surface like this, you can actually gain height. So, stand on the barrel, grab it, move into it, and jump, and you can get right on top of the bunker. You don't even have to do the tree jump. And then from here, just like with the previous method, you just go over this way and go to the end of this section. The last and hardest method for crossing the screen is just prop flying the whole way there. So, just like before, you're gonna grab this barrel, and if you really wanna be nutty, you can just start the prop fly right here. You can face it this general direction, hop on it, and just go. It's not the best idea, in my opinion, because you run the risk of falling off pretty quickly. Am I really about to just do this when I said it was hard? No way. No way. Yeah, so that's the thing you can do. I don't even do that because I find having more opportunities to mess up a prop fly is not a good idea, but you can do that. Anyway, let me actually explain how that's done now. So you're gonna come grab the barrel here and take it pretty much straight forward to around this pit. Right where this stump is here. Now when you get here, you're gonna get shot by a plane a couple times, and that can kind of mess with you as you're setting up for this prop fly. So just keep that in mind. You can kind of avoid it by moving around. They'll generally miss if you do that. But if you're standing still trying to like position the barrel, you're gonna get shot. So, the first thing to think about here is where the hell are you aiming? You can't really see, I mean, you can see the other side, but you don't know where the actual other trench is that you're trying to get to. The way that I determine how to orient the barrel is actually using these blood stains here. This one right here has a big trail that's facing this way. This is almost exactly the angle that you need, right over there. You definitely don't want to be hitting that tree as best you can, and this will take you right past the right side of it. So, grab the barrel, set it up in about that way. Also, when you're orienting the barrel, you notice that as you move, when you move forward, it kind of gets pushed away. You move back, it gets brought back toward you. You can do that in combination with turning the camera, and you can kind of change the angle of the barrel a bit. It's something that you'll understand more as you play the game. It might not make a whole lot of sense just in a video, but it's a bit more intuitive when you're actually playing the game. You can set the barrel up like that, facing this way to the right side of this tree. And now you can hop on and grab, move forward and jump, and adjust a bit. Make sure you're not flying off the side like that. And keep going. Sometimes when you get over here, you might hit like a high part of ground, like right here. And if you do that, you're probably gonna fall off the barrel. That's not a big deal, because you can just set yourself up again here. Basically, you wanna be going in about that direction. You don't wanna go too far left because you can end up falling off the cliff. So you probably wanna set up like about there, making sure that your barrel is as straight as it can be. This is fine, but maybe you want to watch out when you get started that you're not going to go flying forward, or that the barrel isn't going to be at a bad angle. Also, if you had dropped the barrel and it fell down there, but you managed to land here, you can actually come over here and there's another barrel for you to use right over there. It's almost like they planned this glitch to be possible or something. So if you mess up the full prop fly, you can just set one up again here. And, oh, wow. Wow, okay. So that's one of the things that can happen when you're prop flying. What happened there was I hit the side of the barrel, and I guess it was just too far to the side, and it sent me flying off to the right. And at that point, there's not really anything you can do. That's why you need to try your best to stay in the middle of the barrel. This is not an easy trick. There is no amount of practicing this trick that's gonna get you to be landing it 100% of the time. So, I'm gonna set the barrel up here again, move back so that I don't get shot by that plane, jump on the barrel, grab it, move forward, fuck with the camera a bit. And I'm not touching the stick right now, I am just mashing A, and I've made it across, and I fell off the barrel. From here, you're just gonna go over this way. You wanna try to ride the barrel as far this way as you can, but sometimes you just fall off right as soon as you get here. Open this hatch. Once that cutscene's over, you're gonna jump forward and then hold back on the stick to kill your momentum so that you end up right over this hole and you fall right in. If you don't hold back, there's a good chance that you're gonna end up standing right here. You don't always, sometimes you'll slip in just fine, but you know, wanna be consistent. So what you would do, I'm gonna look down for this just to give you a better idea of what's going on, but you would generally be looking forward as you do this. So you're gonna jump forward, hold back, and you fall right in, and then you can go into the village. It's pretty simple. Once you're in the village, you're just gonna jump over this fence here. Pretty much a straight line right up until you get up this ladder here.
Nothing for you here.
And once you're up here, you're gonna have two different ways that you can go to get to Anthony. One of them's a little bit faster than the other, but there's not a huge difference. The first way to go is just to go left here. Take your first right, Take the next right, and go down into the door this way. The other way you can go that's a little bit faster but carries higher risk is to jump over this fence and walk along this cliff here, right along the wall. There's not a whole lot of room for you to stand here though, and actually, if you're apparently if you're standing right there, you just fall right down. This is the problem with going this way, is that you'll fall in the water and you don't really have a reliable way back up unless you were to go all the way over here to the ladder. And that involves you running through this entire river, and you really don't want to be doing that. So if you're not confident in hitting this trick, then I wouldn't suggest going for it. So now that we know that slopes are dangerous, I'm going to try and show this again. So to do this, you just come up here, walk as close to this wall as you can, and just keep moving along it like this. Turn the corner, stay along the wall, and it'll put you right in front of the door. So now we're going to go talk to Anthony. The first thing to know about talking to Anthony is right at the start, you want to position yourself where the top of Jackie's shadow is just touching the top of his belt. That's going to put you in the perfect position to walk away from his dialogue as soon as he finishes his first line. So I'll show you that now. I'll walk up to him, position myself right about here. That's probably good. This might be too far away. That's perfect. As soon as he says his next line, turn around, walk away, walk back.
How are you doing?
Mash X through this dialogue. The dialogue option that you want to pick here is right at the bottom. Skip your line and then walk away. When he's saying that listen line, you don't have to wait for it to finish. You can just walk away. And then we're gonna go to the hills. You can cut this corner if you're feeling real cheeky, but I wouldn't do it personally because if you fall in the water, that's pretty slow. Now, we're gonna cover the hills. All right, so once you get to the hills, you're gonna wanna go to the left here so that you can pull out the darkness, get some energy. And there are two ways that you can move the bell here, depending on whether or not you're doing a later trick called bell jump at the end of the hills. If you're not doing that, you can grab it and just kind of move it to the right here so that you have just enough room to run by. If you are doing bell jump though, then you want to come down here, grab the bell, move back this way, and place it right there. Then we're just gonna go into the main section of the hills here. You might think from playing the game that you want to run down the middle here to get to the crucified. That's actually slower than going this way. So I'm gonna go to the left here, just kind of follow this wall. It's gonna seem weird, but you'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Just keep following the wall, and eventually the screen is gonna flash. It might flash once or twice. It's kind of random, I don't really get what determines it. And now I'm here, all of a sudden. Keep going up this hill, keep pulling out the darkness, and you'll realize that you are actually now right in front of the crucified. Before you talk to the crucified, put your weapons away. If you don't, which I'll show you here, mash X, you'll actually wait for the animation to play before this talking happens. It says skip up in the corner. It doesn't matter if you press B or not. You can't skip this cutscene. I don't really know why it gives you that prompt. Now that we have the darkness guns, I want to give you a little tip that I use to remember which way you press on the D-pad to get through these powers. Because I always get them mixed up. I never remember which way to go for what power. Basically, the way I think about it is like stacking the powers on top of each other. Like Creeping Darkness at the bottom, and then you get Demon Arm, and that's on top of it. And then Darkness Guns are on top of Demon Arm. And if you want to select Demon Arm from Darkness Guns, you would just press down to go down that stack. And then down again to the bottom of the stack, which is Creeping Dark. And then down once more, gets you back up to the top. That might be a weird little tip, but I find that I have a lot of trouble remembering like how to get to what power, so hopefully that'll help you, because I find it helps me. So once you've got the darkness guns, you're of course going to switch back to the demon arm, because you don't want the darkness guns equipped, like what? You might think that you want to go back the way that you came to warp back to the start of the hills. You actually can't do that, so we're just going to run back down the normal path here. You don't want to go through this middle section because there are a bunch of lights on the side that'll be draining your darkness energy. So you just kind of want to go along the left here so that you're not in the light at any point. You're gonna get some flashes like that. Sometimes it'll make you put your darkness away, so just be ready to pull it back out. Also, if you get really surrounded by enemies here, you can actually end up dying. So if you're getting shot a lot, it's definitely worth it to shoot the enemies as much as you can. But only if you have to. So now that we're back at the start of the hills, this is where I'll talk about the two ways to get back up here. The first is just going normally this way. Up the stairs and into the door. And if you're doing that, that's when you don't want the bell here. That's when you want to just move it as little as possible to spend as little time maneuvering it as you can. The other method for escaping the hills is bell jump. This is a trick that saves a couple seconds. So what you do is once you've put the bell in this position here, you're going to jump up on this barricade, jump up on the rim of the bell here, and then jump again to get up here, and then you can leave the hill. This trick can be a bit weird, and again, it only saves a couple seconds, so it's not a huge deal. Like, you don't really have to go for it unless you want to. If the bell is in a weird position, it can be kind of difficult to jump on. Like, if it's standing up on this end, I think it can be very, very difficult to get on the top here. And sometimes you might, like, fall into the middle of it, where it can be a bit awkward to get out. Another thing with this trick is if the bell isn't in a great position, you might just not be able to make the jump at all. It's easier, obviously, if you jump to the right side here because it's lower. But if you miss the jump, you can kind of end up stuck in between the bell and the wall here. I guess it's not in a position where it's going to do that right now. Let me see if I can get it into one, and I can give you a better example. It generally happens when the bell is not close enough to the wall. That's not quite it. All right, well, I can't really seem to get it, but basically, you can end up in a position where you kind of miss your jump here and fall down here, and you'll be stuck for a while, and the only really way you can get out is to grab the bell with the demon arm, and that moves it into a completely different spot. If you do that at that point, you're better off just running up the stairs and getting out. This is a trick where if you try it once, you're not really saving time over having just gone the other way, but you should still go for it again at that point. If you miss it twice, then you're actually losing time over just going the normal way. And at that point, you want to consider whether or not you feel like you can get this trick, or whether you should just give up and walk around and get out of here normally. And so once you're up here, you're just gonna head back into the village. So there's not really a whole lot to say about this section. It's mostly just dialogue. You can cut that corner again if you want, but again, kind of risky. I don't like to do that. So you're gonna run down here to Anthony. He's gonna say his lines. You can mash X through this.
Found them?
Sometimes he'll do a weird thing where he just says his lines not in dialogue mode and you can't skip them. That'll lose you like 20 seconds and there's not really anything you can do about it. You just mash X throughout this whole thing. You don't have to pick any other dialogue options than the default ones. Anyway, so once they're opening this, you can just wait here, go down, crouch through, remember to press crouch again so that you can stand up right away, and we're gonna go into the sewers. So once you're in the sewers, you're gonna wanna pull out the darkness, make sure you're at full darkness energy, and also just, you know, so you can see where you're going. Put it away once you get to the light here. Another crouch section, press crouch again so you stand right up. As you come around this corner, you're gonna wanna pull out your pistols, pull out the darkness, and then shoot this light with your left pistol. Because the pistol's on the left, I find it hits that light more often. I think that might just be me making something up. Anyway, you're gonna hit that, and then as soon as that's out, you're gonna look down so that the light isn't on screen, and then grab this barrel and run this way. Let go of it right around here so that it'll hopefully roll right up to this wall, and then you can jump on it, onto this ledge, and over this fence. If you don't want to grab that barrel, or it ends up in a place where you can't jump from it to that ledge, it's actually not a big deal. You can come over to this ladder, but rather than climb it, you can just stand on this little ledge here, and then jump up on the ledge and get over just like that. Using the barrel isn't much faster than just jumping on the ledge beside the ladder. So if you miss grabbing the barrel, or it's just giving you a hard time in any way, or you just find that you can't do it quickly enough, it's best to just ignore it and do the ledge jump instead. When you reach these stairs, there are two separate approaches that you can be taking depending on how you're doing the next section. The first way that you can do it is to just activate the two pumps, drain all the water, come back down, open that door, go through normally. The other way is a trick called Lightkiller Skip. It's one of the hardest in the game. I don't really suggest you go for it unless you are very, very confident in your ability. All right, so if you're doing this the normal way, you're just gonna come up here, have your darkness out because you're gonna be getting shot a lot throughout this. You can go to either pump first. I choose to go to the left one just because it's a little bit closer, but it really doesn't matter. Activate it as soon as you can, turn around. And now there's gonna be an enemy on the left here usually, somewhere. Oh, he's not there today. And then there's usually an enemy standing here. You gotta be ready for both of them. As you come in here, it's a good idea to try to shoot out that light if you can, and this light above the pump. It's not a big deal if you can't get them, but I find it's nice. So you come over here, eat the Lightkiller heart, and summon it pretty much as soon as you can. And then hopefully it will hit the pump like that and you can turn it on. Now, it's not always gonna do that. A big reason that I started doing Lightkiller Skip, not so much the fact that it saves 20 seconds, more so the fact that the Lightkiller can lose you much, much more than that by just not wanting to activate the pump for some reason. A lot of the time it will just start destroying lights instead. And even if you're sitting here like mashing the redirect button, it just won't activate the pump for some reason. I don't know how to avoid that. I've had people, you know, raise theories about like, if you're in the way, like if you're standing here and it's trying to move over here to activate the pump, then like it messes with the AI. I don't know what it is. But there is a chance that it will just not do what you need it to do. So once you've activated both pumps, you can come back this way. There's a good chance that the enemies have come, yeah, pretty deep into this tunnel. So be ready for that. Come over this way. And then you can jump right over this railing and open the door. And then run straight through. I like to summon the darkness here just so that you get as much energy as you can. And then you can come up the ladder. The second method for getting through this section is a trick called Lightkiller Skip. This is one of the hardest tricks in the game, and it only saves 20 seconds. If you are not close to world record pace, I really don't think you should go for this trick. This is not something you have to be going for, especially if you're just starting out. It is very difficult. I've gone ahead and killed all the enemies here just so I can walk you through the approach a little slower and more in depth, because there's a lot going on in a small amount of time, and you are constantly getting shot at during this. So, once you're up here, you're gonna pull out your darkness and run up the stairs. Usually you're gonna be getting shot here. Sometimes you can make it up here with full energy if you can, that's great. If you have a little bit energy lost, that's also fine. If you're very low, then you're probably gonna have to wait inside that door to replenish your energy. I'll get there in a second. As you come up these stairs, you kind of want to try and aim at this light and try to shoot it out once you're here. It's not an easy shot by any means. Like, yeah. And you want to keep moving the whole time. Like, you don't want to stop to shoot that. So if you miss it, then you're going to run in here, shoot out this light, and then wait here to replenish your energy. But if you shoot this one out, then usually you can get here with full energy and just keep moving without having to stop. As you move through this door, you're going to want to hold left bumper and mash A. That's going to summon a gunner from this darkling spawn. This darkling is going to be great for distracting all the enemies in this room. And as soon as you run in here, you're going to run around this corner and grab this barrel. So that's going to look something like this. You're going to get here. Let's say that I actually got here with full energy. Summon the gunner, come around, grab the barrel, and move backwards through this section into this door. You can let go of the barrel once it's in this hallway, and then look straight up and shoot out this light. However, there's something to keep in mind with this barrel. Since you're going to be getting shot from the enemies in this room, there's a chance that you're going to drop it before it gets into this hallway or this room. And there's a weird property of this barrel where if it's in this room, I think it actually might not work right now because all the enemies are dead. But there's a property where like you can't really grab the barrel. Yeah. For some reason, you just can't grab the barrel no matter what if it's in that room and you're in here. So if it gets dropped in there, you're gonna have to shoot out this light, probably also this light, so that you can grab it and bring it back in here. Then you're gonna bring it all the way around here in front of this pump, let go, and then shoot this light out as well, and then activate this pump. It's good to shoot out the light and then activate the pump so that you're absorbing some darkness energy during the pump cutscene. Now, once you've done that, you're gonna position the barrel in front of this section of the fence. Make sure it's on its side so you can actually stand up. Hello? Leave me alone. Make sure it's actually on its side so that you can stand on it. I find that if it's standing up, you can't really get on top of it. So you're gonna jump and then crouch to be able to stand on this. For some reason, if you don't crouch, you won't be able to stand on it. Now from here, I'm gonna just do this once and then walk you through all the steps after, because there's a lot going on here. The goal of Lightkiller Skip is to bring a barrel over this fence, ride along the top of this water here so that you can land right there on the top of that door. You see that there's actually a curved ceiling here. If you're too high up during this trick, you're actually gonna have to crouch as you hover along the barrel so that you can actually make it under that ceiling. That's only if you feel like you're too high up. There we go. Once you've done this trick, you're going to be under the water, and you can just run into these pipes over through here and climb the ladder like normal. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is grab this barrel and move it around to the front of you. What you wanna be able to do is step off of this ledge onto the barrel. However, when you bring it around in front of you, there's a good chance that it's going to be too high up for you to stand on. So the way that you get around that is to drop and re-grab the barrel. However, you can't just let go and immediately repress the demon arm button. There's a bit of a delay between when you can let go and re-grab something, or really just send the arm out again. So what you have to do is kind of let the barrel fall a bit, and then once you feel like it's been long enough, which is something that you'll just get used to with time, attempt to grab the barrel again. You have to make sure that your body is a bit off of the ledge here, because if it's not, then you're just gonna grab it and bring it right back up to where it was before, and you can't stand on it. So when it's coming back up, you wanna kind of step off of the ledge and onto the barrel. So, I'm going to grab the barrel, move it around like this, let go and re-grab, and you see it went flying. I have no idea where that went. At this point, the trick is basically over, because I would have to go find another barrel, and at that point, I'm not saving any time over just doing the pumps normally. Sometimes the barrel will just kind of stay floating like this. This is actually really good for you, because then all you have to do is move away a little bit and it'll start falling, and as soon as you do that, you can grab it again. So move away, grab it again. Sometimes the barrel will stop here, and this is also pretty good for you because you can grab it again and then you're just standing right on top of it like this. When you grab the barrel, I find that if it's in a position like this, where it's kind of facing away from you like that, it's not gonna end up in a good spot when you bring it around. Sometimes if it's like standing straight up, it'll be good. Let's see if it'll actually end up like that. Yeah, like this is actually fine, as long as you have a decently flat surface to stand on. Also, this is the phenomenon I was talking about where sometimes if you grab it a bit late, it'll get flung right back up and just kind of hover in the air for a bit. It's gonna stay like that until you either step on it or grab it again with the demon arm. So I'm gonna grab it and then step off so that it doesn't get brought too far up here. So grab, step off. Oh, this is actually not very good. I think I'm gonna fall off here. Yeah, I am. So unfortunately, I guess it wasn't as flat as I needed it to be, but that's just a good way to show you that it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. Sometimes you can stand on it pretty decently, as long as it's not at a terribly sharp angle. So the best position for the barrel would be something like this. I find that this is the best, because when you bring it around, it'll generally be in that same position. So drop it, re-grab, step out onto it. Now, when you're here, what you have to do is let go and then re-grab the barrel at just the right point so that you are right above the level of the water. If you go too far down, you're gonna hit a kill trigger and start over from your last checkpoint. The way that I time this is I listen to the sound of the demon arm. When that sound ends, I press the demon arm button again, and that usually leaves you in a very good spot. You idiot. Just want to be clear about this. When you see the demon arm extend this much, that actually means that you've pressed the button a little too late, so try to time it earlier than that. So I'm on the barrel, and now I'm gonna let go, and as soon as the sound stops, I'm gonna press the button again. Now I'm right above the level of the water. You'll notice that I'm not jumping. You don't have to jump when you're doing this, but it makes the movement a bit jerky. I'm gonna slowly move over to the top of this door here, and when I'm right about here, I'm going to let go of the barrel and land right on it. Once you've landed on top of this door, you might think that you just wanna move out like that to get to the floor. That will kill you. Don't do that. Rather than moving out, you should move along this wall into this corner here, and when you're in this corner, slowly move out from the door, and you'll fall right down under the level of the water. Again, if you move this way off of the door, there's a very, very good chance that you are just gonna hit the kill trigger and die. And again, from here, you can just go this way, over to the ladder that's here, and continue the game. So now I'm gonna try to walk through the entire approach for Lightkiller Skip while doing my best to talk about what I'm doing as I do it, but that might be a bit hard because again, a lot happens in this very quickly. So, let's give it a try. Shooting that out, grab the barrel, throw it over there, jump on it, get up there, not quite where I wanted to go. My energy is low here, so I know I'm gonna have to get more energy before this light, or after it rather, in here, yep. Okay, now I'm at full, go in, grab the barrel, come around here, let go because I know it's gonna fly in here, shoot that light out, and bring it around this way now that I have enough energy to get it over here. Let go, look up, shoot the light, activate the pump, and I think that's in a good spot, so I'm gonna jump up here, move the barrel around, let go, re-grab it, get on the barrel, let go, press again, and slowly go over to the door, land on it, move along the wall, and we are in there. So that's what it looks like when everything is put together. That was an all right approach. Some things went wrong, but that trick is almost never gonna go right. So you have to get very good at being able to adapt to whatever the game throws at you in that approach. Again, that trick saves 20 seconds. Please don't go for that unless you have an extremely good time. It is not worth it. So once you're at the top of this ladder, you're gonna put the darkness away and run to the right here. There are gonna be 2 enemies around this corner that you can kill. And you can just run by that enemy there, you don't have to kill him. And we're gonna head into the last part of chapter 2. All right, so once you're here, you're gonna just run through these doors. You can start strafe jumping once you're out the second door, head up these stairs, pull out the darkness once the enemies can see you. You really should kill this enemy on the stairs because he can get in your way. It's also a good idea to eat the heart if you're low on energy because these enemies here can just combo you and kill you extremely quickly. Run out here, and we're gonna head to the back of the cannon. There are 3 strats that you can use for getting through the cannon, an easy one, a medium hard one, and then a kinda hard one. The easy one is pretty simple. It's just, you don't have to really worry about these enemies. It's unlikely that they're gonna kill you. So you're gonna come up here, go in, shoot these enemies here, and then this console here, you can actually, when it says push button, press that and it'll turn off the lights in this room. So from here, you can just run down these stairs, jump up on this pipe, and then jump over this little railing. And then you can skip having to go through this room here. Something to keep in mind here is this pipe is actually a bit hard to jump on. If you're right up next to it and you're like moving into it, you don't really get a full jump off for some reason. So you kind of have to time your jump so that you land on it and don't really touch it until you're on top of it. And then from here, you can just run up the stairs, along this walkway, and out the door. The second method for getting through here is rather than going on the right, you're gonna jump over the left here, walk along the pipe, and then go up the stairs just like last time. That can be a little more difficult because there are lights in here and the enemies, if they get a lot of shots on you, you can get pretty low pretty quickly. But it's really not too bad once you get the hang of jumping over like these little metal parts and staying on the pipe. But if you find it too difficult, then really you're not gonna be losing a whole lot of time if you go with the other strategy. So the last way to do this room is a trick that I call shell jump. So we're gonna come up here just like before. And you see this shell? This shell you can actually walk right through. This is not solid, but this thing that it's sitting on is solid. So what we're gonna do is walk along this metal thing here, jump onto this, and then up onto the railing here. However, there is one little snag with this. If you take too long in here, eventually this shell is gonna get lifted up and you can no longer do this trick. So you have to do this very quickly. It doesn't really seem to be getting pulled up here. I'm not really sure what triggers it getting lifted up here, to be honest with you. But I know that if you take too long with this trick, it will eventually be gone and you can no longer do the trick. There is another way that you can do it that's even harder and honestly isn't worth it when you have all these enemies shooting you. Is it really not gonna go away? What's going on? Ah, here we go. See, eventually it'll get lifted up like this, and once it's like that, you can't do this trick the same way. So I'll show you a way that you can try to do this once it's lifted up, but it's way harder. So if it's lifted up, you can... Am I stuck? Hello? Okay, there we go. If it's lifted up, you can kind of try to run up this slope and then jump before you're at the top, and it'll give you a bit extra height when you reach the top and jump like... basically, if you jump while you're going up a slope, you gain more height. And by doing that, you can try to angle a jump from the top of this all the way over that railing and onto the ledge. It's very, 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 very hard. Ideally, you don't want to have to be going for that version of the trick, and honestly, I would say if that shell gets lifted up, don't even go for it. Just walk around. To get shell jump, you're gonna turn at an angle a bit. I like to do it like this. Walk in here, jump on that railing, jump on this metal part. If you get shot off like this, it's gonna be a lot harder, and you take a lot of damage in this room. Let's try this again. Turn at an angle, run in here, jump on this and on this, run up here and jump so that you land on that metal thing that is holding the shell, and then you can just jump over this ledge and run in here. That is the fastest way to do that room, but it takes a lot of practice, and it's a bit hard to do. Like, even I don't even hit that 100% of the time, because like you can just get destroyed by the enemies, you can fall off, you can just miss the jump. There's a lot that can go wrong with it. And if you mess it up, there's a very good chance that you're gonna die. Just gonna show you what that looks like one more time. As you can see, it's a very, very fast way to get through that room. So once you're through there, you're just gonna basically run to the end of the chapter, up to the top of the cannon, open the hatch, and immediately mash X to start the engine. And now you are done chapter 2. So I hope you can see why chapter 2 can be a very difficult chapter, or it could be a moderately easy one. Chapter 3 is where the enemies are going to start being a lot more of a threat, so we'll get into that as we get there. But that's going to be all for chapter 2, so thank you for watching. I will see you in part 4.